So here goes your question number 1, guys. 2.5 minutes of time for this question. We'll be discussing that. Okay, Aman. Okay, Laksh. Okay, Vaishnavi. ये आते ही सबकी बैंड बजनी शुरू, या फिर 5 घंटे का सेशन करके एग्जॉशन? किसी का सही नहीं है अभी तक। ये हर्षा, तू आंसर, पहला आंसर है तेरा किस? क्या बात है हर्षा यार, तू तो छा गई। गुड थिंग्स, यू नो। लास्ट 20 seconds, guys. Attempt in the timed pressured environment. It will be cool for you. बताता हूँ आंसर दूंगा सही। वेट वेट वेट। राजसी आरसी सेशन से गायब थी। ठीक है, मैं सबको नोटिस किया हूँ। डांट खाना फिर, है ना, बाद में। सॉर्टेड। वेट, स्टॉप। What it says, when we open our mouth to yawn, our jaws stretch down to their near lowest position, heightening blood flow in the area that is then cooled by the quick intake of air. So once, what happens once you are stretching your jaws, right? First, what is happening? You once when you are opening your mouth to yawn, your jaws stretch down to the nearest lowest point, heightening blood flow in the area. The blood flow increases, and that is then cooled by the quick intake of air. And again, as soon as the air goes, it goes down. A 2007 study by psychology professor this showed that when participants in the study were warm, the rate of yawning increased. But when participants were in a cooler environment or had placed cold ice packs on their heads, the rate of yawning was noticeably lower. So this is talking about that study, right? When they were in the warmer environment, they were yawning more. In the cooler environment, they were yawning less. At the end of a long, tiring day of heated brain activity, yawning functions as a coolant to the literally sleepy head. right? So yawning, what's the conclusion is that long, tiring, heated day, yawning functions as a coolant to the literal sleepy head. As soon as you yawn, right, it serves as the coolant for you guys. So now see the options. Yawning helps to heighten the blood flow in the jaw and cools our brain. Okay, seems like cool. It talks about the blood flow and cools our brain. ठीक है, sorted. I'll keep this as an option अभी के लिए. We tend to yawn more in warmer than rather cooler environment. It is only talking about what? It is talking about the study, right? But study just to focus on what is our observation, and then it is that study is trying to showcase that point, right? Hence option B is focused only on the study wala part. That is my secondary argument, not the primary argument. The primary argument is the process of yawning, what happens, etc., 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 right? So it is talking about that. So option B will be eliminated. Option C says yawning functions as a coolant to a tired, heated, and sleepy brain. Okay. So option A and option C are more like similar. He heightens the blood flow in the jaws and cools our brain. Okay. As a coolant to the tired, heated, and sleepy brain. Again, it is also cool, right? This and this is one of my conclusions too, right? Yawning serves as a coolant to a warmer body and brain. All right. Now see what happens here when you are talking about option A, option C, and option D. Option D is also correct, right? Now there are two things here, two components here. First, what is happening here? It is talking about the brain, etc., etc. The rate of your yawning increases, had placed cold ice packs, rate of yawning was noticeably low. At the end of this heated brain activity, yawning functions as a coolant to the literal sleepy head. So there are two things. One is your body, second is your brain, right? Along with that, what is happening here? If you will be considering option A, right, it is talking only about the cooling system, right? Whereas when you will be talking about option C, it is talking about only of the heated system, right? So in both the cases, these are very, very closely related to each other, but not complete, right? So option D will be my answer. That gives me the conclusion. Along with that, it is talking about your body as well as your brain. And hence I'll be marking option D and move forward. Anyone having any doubts, please ask. If sorted type S, we can proceed to the next question.
Sir,
Huh.
Sir, like
हाँ बोलो.
like it is mentioned body as well as brain, right? बट पूरे ऐसे में लाइक जो भी पैराग्राफ है उसमें
बॉडी
भी
के बारे में बात नहीं की गई है, राइट?
हाँ जी,
बॉडी के बारे में बात नहीं की गई है, ये बोल रहा है.
एग्जैक्टली वी आर जस्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट द ब्रेन, राइट?
यस, बिल्कुल.
तो ऑन दैट बेसिस शुडंट डी बी एलिमिनेटेड?
No, just because option A, when I was reading, I was literally confused between option A and option C first because of the same doubt that option D is talking about warmer body and brain, right? But what is happening? This word, literal sleepy head, है ना? This word is talking about both of your complete body. Along with that, when I was discussing about the coolant mechanism, right, that coolant mechanism, when you will be applying, so you will be applying from both the sides, as a heated body, as a cooler body, right? But option A and option C, none of them were capturing the whole essence. So I was literally, due to this word, I was also confused. Why should I mark this as an option? Because body is not given. But then I saw, obviously I'll be eliminating B straightforward.
Yes.
Right. Ansita says option C is wrong because of sleepy brain. I think brain cannot be sleepy. Why? This word, literal sleepy head, is showcasing that your brain can be sleepy too. Brain is sleeping means you are in the mode of that sleeping mode. You are in that zone where you are thinking like you are getting a sleep. That's the meaning of sleepy brain, bacha, Ansita. right? हाँ, अब तू बता. So that's let me complete first. So that's why when I was reading this out ना, I was really confused कि obviously it's not talking about body, but then this word was kind of pressing me towards कि because it's a forced one, you know. It's the forced answer that I am going on just because option A, B was directly eliminated. Option B and option C was giving me half answers. And that's why option A and option C I had to eliminate, because if I am talking about the coolant mechanism, it's working differently on a heated system, it's working differently on a cooler system, and the both of them are primary to me, because without both of them the whole essence of the paragraph is not complete, and hence option A and option C was forceful elimination. Got it?
सर आई एम नॉट कन्विंस्ड कि सी आंसर क्यों नहीं हो सकता,
सेम सर, सेम.
क्योंकि लाइक उसमें सब कुछ दिया, लाइक फंक्शनिंग दी है यॉर्निंग की, एंड इट्स लाइक एवरीथिंग इज मेंशन, टायर्ड, हीटेड और स्लीपी ब्रेन, ये तीनों चीज पैराग्राफ में दी हुई है.
Perfectly दी हुई है, you are correct.
तो बस वो कन्विंस नहीं हो पा रहा हूँ कि सी क्यों नहीं.
क्योंकि ये लाइन पढ़ना बच्चा, first line ही पढ़. Our jaws, when we open our mouths to yawn, right? Our jaws stretch down to their nearest near lowest point, heightening blood flow in the area that is then cooled by the quick intake of air. Right. Along with that, what is said here, ki 2007 study, this is talking about the study wala part, right? Ki when it is warming, what happens? When it is cooling, what happens? Along with that, the most important thing that you guys are missing, when you said that body is not mentioned, tell me one thing, what are the components that you are using? Brain, right? Aren't you ignoring? Don't you think you are ignoring the mouth wala part?
करेक्ट.
Aren't you ignoring that part?
हाँ जी.
That's right. And both of them were half.
सर
हाँ बोलो.
सर तो उस बेसिस पे तो सर ए भी तो हो सकता है, फिर ए में भी तो माउथ की बात कर रहे हैं और कूल सार ब्रेन है, वो भी तो कंप्लीट आंसर हो गया.
कैसे हुआ? हीटेड सिस्टम, हीटेड मैकेनिज्म के बारे में बात ही नहीं कर रहे हो ना. You are talking about कि when it is the cooler environment this happens. What about the heated environment? And one more thing, when he is trying to give the conclusion, he is talking about long tiring day of heated brain activity. So that's the heating environment you are talking about. But option A, is it considering that? Is it
No, sir,
considering
no.
that conclusion part?
नो सर, नो सर.
अभी convincing है?
यस सर.
ऑल्सो ए इसलिए भी गलत होगा कॉज इनटेक ऑफ एयर मिसिंग है ना. यस. तो वही चीज मैं बता रहा हूँ ना कि इट्स द कंप्लीट मैकेनिज्म वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट, बट बोथ ऑफ देम, हाँ दोनों को कंबाइन कर दो तो वो आंसर हो जाएगा तुम्हारा. दैट्स व्हाट्स अप, राइट? बट अगेन नहीं होगा क्योंकि उसमें अगेन दोनों में से किसी में भी बॉडी वाला पार्ट नहीं है. माउथ इज योर वन ऑफ द इंपॉर्टेंट कंपोनेंट व्हाइल यू आर yawning. Right, and that's why D will be the correct answer. Anyone having any issues, please ask. If you are sorted, type a S, we can proceed to the next question. Others? Ansita, अभी भी confusion है?
नहीं सर,
अच्छा.
पर जो मैं बोल रही हूँ वो सही है.
क्या?
ऑप्शन सी स्लीपी ब्रेन की वजह से ही गलत है, क्योंकि जो आप बोल रहे हो स्लीपी हेड, वो तो एक फ्रेज होता है. मतलब जो कोई अनअटेंटिव या कोई इंसान जिसको नींद आ रही है उसको अपन स्लीपी हेड बोलते हैं. डज नॉट मीन लिटरली कि हेड स्लीपी हो रहा है. सो ब्रेन कैन नॉट बी स्लीपी, वो डिस्टॉर्टेड है.
डिस्टॉर्टेड तो नहीं है, बट वो डिस्टॉर्टेड नहीं है बच्चा, वो सही है. बट ठीक है ना? तो तू ऑप्शन सी उस बेसिस पे एलिमिनेट कर ली थी और तूने ऑप्शन ए मार्क करा था?
नहीं नहीं, डी डी.
अच्छा, तूने डी ही मार्क करा. चलो परफेक्ट है ना. लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन गाइस. हियर इज योर क्वेश्चन नंबर 2. Two and a half minutes for this. Option B. All right. When as soon as I kept this question, I knew that some of you will be marking B. Why? Just because of that heavy word, verbose kind of thing, mechanical causation. Sneha, okay. Sai, okay. Azra, okay. Yes, Sneha, obviously, yes. Chal, okay. Last 30 seconds, guys. Aman, okay. Stop. What हाँ मैं समझा देता हूँ, डोंट वरी. ओके लक्ष्य, ओके हर्षा, क्या बात है हर्षा, तो कुछ आ रही है आज बीए में. It is a primitive attitude which made us invest with the human mind. Everything that moved and changed in a way adapted to perpetuate itself for its kind. Right? So what is happening here? What's our attitude? That the things in which we are investing our mind, है ना? So the way we want to perpetuate it, the way we want to move it, it will move that way only. In the natural science, we have gradually set this attitude and have learned that the interaction of different tendencies may produce what we call an order. So what he is discussing about कि अगर मैं इस चीज पे इन्वेस्ट करता हूँ मेरा दिमाग इधर जाएगा, इस चीज पे इन्वेस्ट करता हूँ मेरा दिमाग इधर जाएगा. So there is no fixed order. But then he says that but in the natural science we have gradually set this attitude and have learned that the interaction of different tendencies may produce what we call an order without any mind of our own kind regulating it. But we still refuse to recognize that the spontaneous interplay of the actions of individual may produce something which is not the deliberate object of their actions, but an organism in which every part performs a necessary function for the continuance of the whole without any human mind having devised it. So what things we are ignoring or we are not able to recognize? That, see, spontaneous interplay of the actions of the individuals. I am interacting with this thing and simultaneously I am interacting with some other thing, right? So now what will happen? Some part of the brain will be behaving to this, some part of the brain will be behaving to this. So that will be a completely spontaneous phenomenon. And that will not be deliberate. It will not be कि हाँ तुम अपने mind को, you are telling your mind क्योंकि this part should be concentrating on that and this part should be concentrating on that. It's just spontaneous and it's not at all deliberate. And an organism in which every part performs a necessary function for the continuance of the whole. Your whole brain is functioning to tackle both the things without any human mind having devised it. And you are not properly devising that strategy. It is just it's happening for us. So let's see. Though we may still refuse to accept, spontaneous interplay of individual actions can produce an overall order without any human mind having devised it. Perfectly fine, but a bit of a trap might be just because it is saying all the things that is mentioned is here to here, right? We are talking about all these things, conclusion wala part we are tackling, but still it's a direct word that's mentioned. So I'll be a bit cautious here. I won't be eliminating this option because it is correct, but I'll be more cautious just because it is mentioning exactly the same things that's being mentioned from here to here. In spite of natural sciences showing otherwise, we still refuse to recognize that order may exist by mechanical causation without any human mind having devised it. So mechanical causation means what? Mechanical causation means a procedure. So it's happening by a procedure. But what is happening? It's not happening by any procedure. You are not saying your brain, ki, haan, this should be tackled by this part of the brain, or this should be tackled by this part of the brain. The mechanical causation is not playing at all a role. And hence option B will be eliminated. Option C is saying, though not entirely, natural science have held a said anthropomorphism, that everything that sustains itself is invested with the human mind. Perfectly fine. Till here, it is mentioning that human mind, everything that moved and changed in a way adapted to perpetuate itself for its time. We have gradually said this attitude. So till here, it is capturing each and every essence. But what about afterwards? The afterward things, the brain organisms, etc., etc., we are not devising any strategy. All those things it is not tackling. So it is half correct. Now D says it is natural to assign a human mind to the ordered outcomes of various individuals acting on their own and without the intention to create a larger outcome. Will this may look like a correct answer? Why? Because natural to assign a human mind to the ordered outcomes of various individuals acting on their own. Right. So human minds are naturally getting divided and without the intention to create a larger outcome. So two things are there. First, whether the intention is to creating the larger outcome or not, that we have not discussed. Another thing is it is natural to assign a human mind. We are not assigning any human mind to tackle these things. We are not devising any strategy. So that's why option D is also wrong. So if all these options are eliminated, obviously option A will be my answer. Anyone having any doubts, please ask. If sorted type S, we can proceed to the next question, guys.
Sir, is the phrase refuse to accept and refuse to recognize, we can consider them the same?
Pardon again?
Like in the first option, it says that refuse to accept.
Yes.
And in the second option, it says refuse to recognize. Are both the same?
Yes. In this case, both of them are same. We are still refusing, or we are still still refuse. It says refuse to accept. That means we are not trying to tackle ki, what it is being said is correct, and it is also saying we still refuse to recognize. It means what's happening. We are not trying to gather that to your mind, right? So in that sense, both of them are same. Literal sense, literal meaning are different, but the if you will be getting a gist of it, both of them are same. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Got it. Let's move to the next question then. Okay, Venu. अनिरुद्ध आंसर्स नहीं आ रहे। तुषार, राजसी, ओशो, लास्ट 45 सेकंड्स गाइस। अंशिता, पिछला वाला समझ में आ गया ना पूरा अच्छे से? क्या बात है, सारे लोग मेरे से मेहनत करवा लो, ABCD सारे मार्क कर दो। चलो, दैट्स ग्रेट तुषार, है ना? ओके आशुतोष, चल अगली बार से मैं ई ऑप्शन भी रखूंगा, है ना? सी गाइज, व्हाट्स गिवन हियर, स्टॉप गाइज, स्टॉप, फोकस, डोंट टाइप इन चैट सेक्शन नाउ। परफेक्ट नहीं है, वेल डन। Minimally, Hindu philosophy stands for a tradition of Indian philosophical thinking. Or all right, so Hindu philosophy is just equivalent to Indian philosophical thinking, but it is minimal. However, it could be interpreted as designating one comprehensive philosophical doctrine shared by all Hindu thinkers. Okay, so it is saying, first it is saying minimally, then it is saying it is a comprehensive philosophical doctrine shared by all Hindu thinkers. The term Hindu philosophy is often used loosely in this philosophical or doctrinal sense. यहाँ से तेरा आंसर आया था ना, ओसो, है ना? The term Hindu philosophy is often used loosely in this philosophical or doctrinal sense, but this usage is misleading. There is no single comprehensive philosophical doctrine shared by all the Hindus that distinguishes their view from contrary philosophical views associated with other Indian religious movements such as this on issues of epistemology, metaphysics, logics, ethics, or cosmology. So there is no single comprehensive philosophical doctrine that we said it is based on this philosophical doctrine shared by all Hindus. Nothing is of that sort that is shared by all Hindus. Right? Historians of Indian philosophy typically understand the term Hindu philosophy as standing for the collection of philosophical views that share a textual connection to certain core Hindu religious texts. Right? Tell me one thing, it's saying that share a textual connection to certain core Hindu religious texts. Okay? So it has significance to some of the core Hindu religious texts. All right, sorted. Let's see what it is. So what are the primary thinking that we have? We are talking about the Hindu philosophy, what it stands for. Some have the opinion it shares something that is known as philosophical doctrine and that is shared by all Hindus. Then it is said that there is nothing just like that is shared by all Hindus. And then there are various things on which these Hindu religious movements are based upon. Along with that, we have also talked about the issues that other religions have, be it Buddhism, Jainism, and they have contradictory opinion on epistemology, metaphysics, etc., etc. And at the end, what the conclusion is that according to some of the historians, this Hindu philosophy is the collection of some philosophical views, right? The lack of a comprehensive philosophical doctrine shared by all Hindus makes the historian's description of Hindu philosophy inaccurate. Now, whether it is accurate or whether it is not accurate, that we are not focusing upon. It is saying that this usage is misleading. right? But along with that, many things are there that we might talk about, that we might not talk about. That's not given in the passage. Many things are there, right? These things, Buddhism, Jainism, etc., etc., we have not talked about it. Only one thing is there, that it is misleading. If we are saying many of the all Hindu thinkers are sharing something, that is not correct, right? So that's why option A might be inaccurate. This word inaccurate and all these things are not covering the complete gist of the passage, but still this is half correct or something, so I'll keep this as an option. Hindu philosophy can be defined only in a broad sense as a tradition of Indian philosophical thinking. All right. So it is talking about the Hindu philosophy, right? And another thing is, we are not trying to recognize it, how it is getting recognized, how it is getting designated. This is one very important part of it that is exactly elaborated. Some people think this, but this is not the case. There are many other things that we refer from. There is no such thing that is shared by all Hindu thinkers, right? So this comprehensive philosophical doctrine is the basic essence or gist of it that we are not discussing in this, and hence option B will be eliminated. Option C says Hindu philosophy loosely refers to a doctrine based on various religious texts and philosophical and cosmological issues. So tell me one thing, here it is saying there is no single comprehensive philosophical doctrine shared by all Hindus that distinguish them from contrary philosophical views associated with other Indian religions, be on issues of epistemology, metaphysics, logic, ethics, or cosmology. And this is saying Hindu philosophy refers to a doctrine based on various religious texts and philosophical and cosmological issues. Ours have a contradictory opinion to others. That doesn't mean that we are based on them. We are based on the cosmological issues that they refer to, or we are based on the philosophical issues that they are referring to. And hence option C will be eliminated. Option D says the term Hindu philosophy is ambiguous, all right, perfect, misleading, okay, and cannot be identified with a particular comprehensive philosophical doctrine. Well, this is covering this out, this part, right? We are, and this is covering the basic essence of it, the particular comprehensive philosophical doctrine that we are referring again and again. And it is talking about the lack of a comprehensive philosophical doctrine shared by all Hindus. So lack of comprehensive philosophical doctrine is shared by all Hindus. That's misleading. That's not a correct fact. Hence, between option A and D, D looks more appropriate, and hence D will be the answer. Anyone having any doubts, please ask. Okay, so let me tell you. Moderate, very difficult, difficult. None of them were easy to moderate. None of them. Right? Sorted, typer S. If you are having any doubts, please ask.
सर इसमें यूजुअली बस समरीज में हम लोग नेगेटिव कुछ रहता है तो हम एलिमिनेट करते हैं ना, कि मतलब समरी नेगेटिव नहीं हो या ऐसा।
अगर तुम्हारी समरी ही निगेटिव, पूरा पैसेज ही निगेटिव है, तो निगेटिव पे तो जा सकते हो ना। कहाँ लिखा है कि अगर निगेटिव कनोटेशन, अगर पूरा पैसेज निगेटिविटी की तरफ जा रहा है तो तुमको निगेटिव ही देखना पड़ेगा ना। हाँ, व्यूज अगर उसके पॉजिटिव होते, ही वुड हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट द पॉजिटिव थिंग्स आउट, तो तुम ऑब्वियसली योर फ्लो शुड बी इन द पॉजिटिव डोमेन, but he is talking all the things he is talking about is negative, so the framework will be, obviously your conclusive framework will be negative. Got it?
ठीक है।
All right, let's move to the next question. Okay, Anshita. Okay, Achal. Okay, Shwasti. Okay, Vandana. Okay, Sneha. Okay, Shravani. Okay, Venu. आदर्श प्रवचन खत्म हो गया हो तो कृपया आंसर दे दे। आज बोलते बोलते थक गया यार, ये आपसे में बोलना बहुत पड़ता है। भाई मैं पिछला 3.5 महीना इतना ये था ना कि जिम विम सब भूल गया मैं। आशुतोष आशुतोष से एक जॉलाइन बन जाएगी बढ़िया। लास्ट 30 seconds गाइस। स्टॉप। सी गाइस, वी परसीव द मीनिंग डायरेक्टली। क्या बोल रहा है पता नहीं, but ठीक है। It's for this reason that a bean bag and a stump both fall into the latter category. Which latter category I'm not knowing, despite having little objectively in common. All right, so it is talking about two things, they come into one category, etc., whatever be the case. We don't see valueless entities and then attribute meaning to them. All right, so that means 3-1 is a pair. So we don't see valueless entities and then attribute meaning to them. We perceive the meaning directly. We see floors to walk on and doors to duck through and chairs to sit on, right? So now it is talking about ki there are some of the things, the usage of the prepositions it is talking about. If you are using floors, walk on the floor, right? If you are using doors, duck through the door. All right. If you are using chairs, sit on the chair. Right. That means कि when I'm talking about all these, and one more thing is there, कि it's for this reason that a bean bag and a stump both fall into the latter category. What this latter category is? This latter category might be talking about the chair, despite having little objectivity in common. So is it suitably matching? Is the pair getting connected? So sit on the bean bag, sit on the stump. That means it is kind of creating the flow I was looking at. 4 also looked a starter to me, right? If 4 is a starter, so 4 and 2 is a pair, 3 and 1 is a pair. So now I have two options, 4-2-3-1 or 3-1-4-2, right? So when I'm talking about, we perceive the meaning directly, right? So we are perceiving the meaning. That means what? If I'm talking about we are perceiving the meaning directly, then obviously I'll be giving some of the examples to justify that out, right? And what's that meaning that we are talking about? Walk on the floor, duck through the door, sit on the chair. That means these are the things that's justifying what meaning I'm talking about. So obviously after 1-4 will be coming, and hence 3-1-4-2 will be my answer. Anyone having any doubts, please ask. Those whose option, see, that's why I say कि pair बनाना बहुत important है यार. PZ में at least pair बनाना is very, very important. Right? Many of you had given the correct answer. Rohan Kanavade, please change your settings. Right? mention directly to me because it creates a biased opinion. Sorted type bias, we can proceed to the next question. Chalo, let's move to the next question then. No, because I don't think so. No, Anshita. Okay, Shine. Okay, Laksh. Okay, Vandana. हाँ रोहन दिख रहा है. That's coming to me. Okay, Diksha. यार तुम लोग पागल हो गए हो क्या? क्या कर रहे हो यार? जिन लोगों ने भी 3 से स्टार्ट किया है भाई, क्या कर रहे हो? Anirudh, did I see that answer? Good job, yaar. Well done. Sneha, well done. वन से जम नहीं रहा तो 3 से स्टार्ट कर दोगे? हद है. Guys, see, I'm telling you one thing. Always read the words, yeah. Always read the words. Those who have started with either 3 or 4, 3 is saying the best model for understanding the growth of CEO pay, though, is that of limited CEO talent. As soon as I saw though cannot be my starter. In 99% of the cases, it will be a dangler. Similarly, in 4, it is saying, in fact, overall CEO compensation. Again, it is a dangler, right? Dangler means which will be, मतलब झूलना जिसको बोलते हैं, that will be between 2 sentences or something to connect those 2 sentences. The efforts of America's highest earning 1% have been one of the more dynamic elements of this global economy. Well, very well done, can be my starter. While individual cases of overpayment definitely exist, in general, the determinants of CEO pay are not so mysterious and not so mired in corruption. Very well, might be my starter, right? Why? Because both of them are general statements. So 1 can be my starter, 2 can be my starter. When I read 2, it is talking about while individual cases of overpayment definitely exist, some people are getting overpaid, the determinants of CEO pay are not so mysterious. and not so mired in corruption. We can evaluate the CEO pay. जैसे ही मैंने evaluation of CEOs pay देखा, I saw that, and one is saying efforts of America's highest earning 1% have been one of the more dynamic elements. So it is showcasing how much efforts these 1% people are showcasing, those CEOs, etc., etc. How much efforts they are putting in. So obviously after two, somewhere one will be coming, right? And so two will be a better starter in comparison to one. After two is talking about key overpayment is existing. Determinants of CEO pay are not so mysterious. That means we can see key why we are paying so much to the companies. And three is saying the best model for understanding the growth of CEO pay. Though is that, though means contradictory. Though and yet. Right? But it is saying best model for understanding the growth of CEO pay is that of limited CEO talent in a world where business opportunities for the top firms are growing rapidly. That of limited CEO talent and 1% people, highest earning 1% people, kinda connected, right? So might be 3-1, might be, not sure, between them any other sentence can come, लेकिन अभी लग रहा है 3-1 can be my pair. In a world where business opportunities for the top firms are growing rapidly, in fact, overall CEO compensation for the top companies rises pretty much in lockstep with the value of those companies on the stock market. Now this is showcasing it is increasing in the lockstep and on the basis of this stock market. That means it is trying to justify that it is not involved in corruption. So 2-4 is a pair for sure, 100%, and 2 is my startup, right? And 3-1-3 is saying the best model for understanding the growth of CEO pay. Here it is talking about determinants of CEO pay, and it is talking about those models that you can understand. So obviously from here I can say that 2-4-3-1 will be my answer for sure. समझ आया? See, one thing is for sure, whenever you are reading the parajumble, not only go for the first starter, etc. type of things. Starter क्या है, conclusion क्या है, वो मत खोजो. वो मिल जाए तो बढ़िया बात है. यहाँ पे 1-2 दोनों स्टार्टर लग रहे थे. वो मिल जाए तो बढ़िया, और 1-2 दोनों स्टार्टर है भी. दोनों में सब्जेक्ट्स है, दोनों में जिसके बारे में बात हो रही है, those things are mentioned. Right? But जब ऐसा dilemma है ना, तो just seek for the keyword, seek for the flow. That will make your task easier. If sorted, type S. If you are having any doubts, please ask. हो जाएगा अंशिता, हो जाएगा. देखो क्या लगता है. अच्छा, tell me one thing guys. अभी तक कितने 5 क्वेश्चंस हम लोगों ने डिस्कस किए होंगे, कितने करे हैं? आई गेस 5 ही करे होंगे. 1 2 3 4 5. ठीक है. क्या लगता है तुमको? व्हाट्स द डिफिकल्टी ऑफ दीज क्वेश्चंस? इजी किसी एंगल गाइस. अभी तुम लोग बहुत फ्रैंकली स्पीकिंग है ना, आई विल बी शोइंग यू गाइस, है ना, कि यू गाइस आर वेरी लकी कि अभी मेरा ये फ्रीक्वेंट 12 वाला ये सेशन हो नहीं पा रहा है. अभी मैं लूंगा तुम लोगों का 9:30 से होगा ना. इन नन ऑफ द सेशंस यू विल बी गेटिंग इजी क्वेश्चंस. नन ऑफ द, प्लीज डोंट एक्सपेक्ट, ये मैं खुल के बोल रहा हूँ, डोंट एक्सपेक्ट इजी क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम मी. आई डोंट केयर वेदर यू आर डीमोटिवेटेड. अगर डीमोटिवेटेड होगी तो मोटिवेट कर दूंगा, वो मेरा काम है. लेकिन यहाँ पे अगर आओगे तो यहाँ मेरा बेसिक सा इंटेंशन होता है, गलतियां करो, गलतियों से सीखो. दैट्स द ओनली थिंग आई हैव इन माय माइंड. बीट एंड इन आरसी में भी तुम लोगों ने देखा, 5th आरसी वाज इंटेंशनली इजी, क्योंकि मेरे को पता था 4 आरसी के बाद तुम लोग पूरा मेस्ड अप हो जाओगे. 5th आरसी इजी नहीं दूंगा, नहीं कर पाओगे. That was the only thing. That's why I kept 5th RC easy on an easier note. Right? Apart from that, the basic intention is जब तक हो, invest your mind completely and learn something from the session. Easy questions करा दूंगा, क्या हो जाएगा उससे अंशिता, है ना? So that's why don't worry, वो छोड़ दे मेरे ऊपर. नहीं हो रहा है, that's cool. सीख रही है ना, दैट्स ओके, सीख रही है ना, दैट्स द मेन इंटेंशन ऑफ माइंड। बस चलो लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन। यार आसान क्वेश्चन एक दो रख दूंगा आगे से, नहीं तो तुम लोग बहुत गालियां देते होगे मन में मेरे को, नहीं? कोई नहीं, मैं गाली खा लूंगा, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है मेरे को। आशुतोष सही आंसर दे मेरे को इस क्वेश्चन में, तेरे से सही आंसर। क्या बात है लक्ष्य, क्या बात है रोहन, क्या बात है विकास, रुक जाओ। हाँ लक्ष्य सही है। क्या बात है मानसी, अजरा, वेल डन। तुम लोगों को पता है जैसे ही आसान क्वेश्चन आता है ना, तुम लोग उस पर टूट पड़ते हो। सारे लोगों को हीरो बनना है। ब्रज फिर से कर, गुड जॉब ओसो, गुड जॉब नेहा। दिस इज नॉट दैट टफ, नॉट इजी। कौन बोलता है साई यार कि कैट इजी नहीं देगा? कौन बोलता है? कैट के पैसेजेस करे ना। नहीं, ये कैट से एक लेवल ऊपर है। क्या बात है, आंचल छा गई, है ना? इट्स ऑल अबाउट सेलेक्टिंग क्वेश्चंस यार, ऑब्वियसली सारे क्वेश्चंस तो इजी नहीं देगा ना। गुड जॉब वैष्णवी। मैं बता रहा हूँ जब तक सारे क्वेश्चन होंगे नहीं, मैं जाने नहीं दूंगा आज। चाहे 9 बज जाए, 9:30 बज जाए, 8 बजे बोलने मत लग जाना। नो नो नो, अंशिता आंसर। सो गई क्या रे? आशुतोष नो, दीक्षा नो, हर्षा नो, परवेश चेंज योर सेटिंग्स, परवेश यस। मैं जानबूझ के नहीं तो परवेश के आंसर को सही बोल रहा हूँ गाइस, है ना? परवेश का आंसर गलत है, ताकि तुम लोग उसके आंसर देखो और मेरे को आंसर दे दो गलत। मेरे को खुशी होती है जब तुम लोगों को गलती होता है तो, पता है। वेरी गुड तुषार, क्या बात है, क्या बात है श्रावणी, गुड जॉब। अवनी तेरा आंसर नहीं दिखा, फिर से टाइप कर दे बेटा, गायब हो गया। चलो स्टॉप गाइस, 15 मोर सेकेंड्स, स्टॉप आफ्टर दैट। अंशिता तेरा आंसर गायब हो गया। स्वर्णा, हाउ आर यू स्वर्णा? Why were you not present in the session, बच्चा? BRC session in the morning. दिख नहीं रहा दीक्षा आंसर तेरा। चलो स्टॉप गाइस, स्टॉप। एक क्वेश्चन पे इतना टाइम नहीं ले सकते अपन, है ना? से क्या दिया है? When their eggs are first laid every embryo has the cap. एक तो यार ये embryo वगैरह वर्ड पढ़ के ना अलग इरिटेशन मचती है, बायोलॉजिकल टर्म से ही मेरे को इरिटेशन है. When their eggs are first laid, every embryo has the capacity to become either a male or a female. नहीं, interesting chapter है. The driving force for sexual development is the incubation temperature of the egg because turtles lack sex chromosomes in their genome. Reproduction in tortoises and many other reptiles are uniquely vulnerable to even minuscule fluctuations in temperature. Here, what it is talking about? Okay, so when their eggs are first laid, every embryo has the capacity to become either a male or a female. All right, one is talking about embryo capacity and all those eggs are laid. Driving force for sexual development is the incubation temperature of the egg. Okay, so it is talking about how their sexual developments are happening of the egg, and it is also talking about eggs. ठीक है, कोई connection तो होगा, because turtles lack chromosomes in their genome. Reproduction in tortoises and many other reptiles are uniquely vulnerable to even minuscule fluctuations in temperature. Other reptiles, including alligators and lizards and many fish, also have their sex determined by environmental conditions, especially temperature. All right, आ गया, सही है. See what it is talking about. First thing first, it is talking about the reproduction wala part. We are talking about the reptiles. We are talking first. We are talking about what? We are talking about the tortoise, right? This is my opener for sure, right? It is saying reproduction in tortoises, and then all we are talking about other reptiles also, है ना? So it is talking about reproduction in tortoises and many other reptiles are uniquely vulnerable to even minuscule fluctuation in temperature. So they are vulnerable to the changing temperature. Now one is saying when their eggs are first laid, that means as soon as these tortoises lay eggs, every embryo has the capacity to become either a male or a female. But there are some of here, what I have said, even minuscule fluctuation in temperature can lead to disastrous results, right? And here it is saying, 2 is saying the driving force for sexual development is the incubation temperature of the egg because turtles lack sex chromosome in their genome. So 3-2 can also be my pair, yeah. Reproduction happens in this. Driving force for their sexual development is the incubation temperature of the egg because turtles lack sex chromosome in their genome. No. One will come before 2. Why? Because it is saying as soon as these eggs are first laid, every embryo has the capacity to become either a male or a female. But the driving force, the sexual development, is the incubation temperature just because these male turtles, right, lack sex chromosome in their genomes. And then we are talking about these other reptiles who are having the similar criteria and all, and their sex also have their sex determined by environmental conditions, especially temperature. So we are talking about other reptiles. So first we talked about turtles, then we generalized that statement. On the basis of that, we generalized our statement what other reptiles can replicate that phenomenon too. Right? So 3, 1, 2, 4 will be my answer. Got the flow? Everyone, if sorted, type a S. We can proceed to the next question. Yes, Swasti. Good, Swasti. You were having correct answer. है ना? Perfectly fine. Chalo, है ना? Let's move to the next question then. कि नमन लक्ष्य फिर से कर दोनों. नमन यू आर वेरी क्लोज. None of you are correct yet. None of you are correct yet. अभी तक किसी का सही नहीं है. यार इजी फ्लो था. सारे लोग एक ही गलती कर रहे हो. अनिरुद्ध क्या बात है, वेल डन. बाकी किसी का सही नहीं है. द गुड थिंग इज कि ऑलमोस्ट लक्ष्य तू क्या कौन सा नशा करके स्टार्ट किया था, उससे कौन सा नशा किया है बता. अगेन मोक्ष टू बी. लास्ट 15 seconds गाइस. यार भाई अगर सबसे पहले नाम लिया जाता है तो पूरा नाम लिया जाता है, राइट. या नहीं तो अगर नाम सिर्फ आधा नाम लिया जा रहा है और उसके पीछे अगर कुछ डेजिग्नेशन है तो पहले डेजिग्नेशन लगता है. तुम लोग को इतना भी नहीं दिख रहा. वेल डन विकास. Those who have started with 3, 4 guys, you need to work really hard. चलो स्टॉप. रुक जाओ, थम जाओ, थम जाओ, थम जाओ. हाँ. See, the image of her as a the image of her as a sultry seductress likely stems from a contrary narrative. Sultry seductress. Okay, so we are talking about someone who was a seductress, likely stems from a contrary narrative originally posed by Octavian to rationalize his rivalry with fellow Roman Mark Antony, who was portrayed as having been manipulated by a foreign temptress. Very heavy words, but one thing is for sure, we are talking about someone who was a sultry seductress. More than 2000 years after her death in 30 BC, the Egyptian queen Cleopatra still looms large in the popular imagination. All right, so we are talking about this queen Cleopatra. This her is denoting that out, right? तो यहाँ से मेरे को 2-1 का पेयर दिख रहा है, ठीक है? Now see, today why? Because Queen Cleopatra, and here it is saying the image of her. So thus that her is showcasing the pronoun is used for her. Today, many historians subscribe to the theory that Cleopatra's looks were ancillary to her considerable intelligence, learning, foresight, and strategic skills. Okay, so we are discussing about the current scenario here, and it is saying that many historians subscribe to the theory that her looks were ancillary to her considerable intelligence, learning, foresight, and strategic skills. So that was complementing her both the things. Intelligence भी, learning भी, foresight भी, strategic skills भी. Despite what is known of her brilliance and charm in mass media, अरे यार ये तो हर यहाँ भी आ गया. So despite what is known of her brilliance and charm in mass media depictions, what often comes to the forefront is a Cleopatra as a ravishingly seductive proto-femme fatale. All right, so it is talking about if there was a Queen Cleopatra, right? And her image, even after 2000 years, right? More than 2000 years after her death, Queen Cleopatra still looms large in the popular imagination. What's that imagination? What is known for her brilliance and charm in mass media depiction, what often comes to the forefront. This imagination, that coming of that imagination on the forefront, we are talking about as a ravishingly seductive proto-femme fatale. Now, seductive here we have used. I also have read seductive in this one, right? So this, what comes to my forefront while I am imagining things out, that Cleopatra was a ravishingly seductive proto-femme fatale. And the image of her, why this image comes to our forefront, it stems from the contrary narrative originally passed. At that point of time, there was some narrative on the basis of which that fame or that imagination was created. And that's why when we are discussing about it, it's coming to our forefront as a seductress. So 3, 4 and 1 is connected, right? 2 is my starter for sure. We are talking about Queen Cleopatra. 3 is talking about the current scenario today. They subscribe to the theory that with her looks, everything, the strategic skills, foresights, learning, etc., were ancillary to her. So that's why 2, 4, 1, 3 will be my pair, quadruplet. So that will be my answer. Anyone having any doubts or confusions, please ask. If sorted, type a S.
सर ये थर्ड आंसर क्या है 2413
हाँ 2413
सर वही दिया था मैंने
इसीलिए तो मैंने बोला था नीरज कुछ अब हाँ
सर
हाँ
वो कह रहे हैं जैसे 3 और 4 साथ में क्यों नहीं हो, क्योंकि इंटेलिजेंस की बात तो थर्ड स्टेटमेंट में कर रहा ना, और फोर्थ में भी लिखा है डिस्पाइट व्हाट इज नोन ऑफ हर ब्रिलियंस और समथिंग करके।
सी इट इज, देखो फोकस तुमको कौन से में किस पे फोकस करना है, और ऑब्वियसली थोड़े कीवर्ड्स तो मैच होंगे. यू हैव टू फोकस ऑन की विच कीवर्ड्स यू हैव टू फोकस अपॉन इन दिस. यहाँ पे क्या है, डिस्पाइट व्हाट इज नोन ऑफ हर ब्रिलियंस एंड चार्म, right? Despite the brilliance or intelligence of Swasti or etc., the thing that comes to the forefront is her beautiful looks. So now what I am focusing upon, tell me that thing, intelligence or beautiful looks? Beautiful looks. Here again that is being told ki despite what is known of her brilliance and charm in mass media depictions, what often comes to the forefront is a ravishingly seductive proto-femme fatale. What is the focus upon? Seductive proto-femme fatale.
Yes, sir.
Right? So if that focus is on one, तो उसके बाद कौन सा आएगा कि why was depictions, why were the depictions like that?
One चला जाएगा.
One चला जाएगा. Got it? All right. Let's move to the next question. यार करो, मैं 2 मिनट में पानी पी के आता हूँ. I'm back, guys. Okay, Mansi. Okay. Naman, Sneha, Vikas, Achal, Vandana, Rohan, Anirudh, Osho, Diksha, Vaishnavi, Avni, Dhruv, Mansi, Sai, Laksh, Shravani, Avni. है अवनी कौन सा नशा करके बैठी है? ऑड वन आउट में पारा जंगल कर रही है ये लड़की. ठीक है, नहीं हो जाएगा लास्ट. चलो ठीक है, हो जाएगा हो जाएगा. चलो देखते हैं गाइस क्या दिया हुआ है. The Western mass culture that predominates the world currently inspires anorexic, photoshopped ideas of beauty, instigating malcontent and insecurity in people. So Western mass culture में क्या है, दिखते कैसे भी हो, फोटो अच्छा बना लो, इनसिक्योरिटी लोगों में आ जाए. An empirically beautiful person might have an easier time getting a job, finding a mate, and being taken seriously. All right, significance of it, right? Artists, scientists, and philosophers concur that beauty is an inherently undefinable characteristic. So these are the opinions of these guys. This insecurity often leads to a detrimental personality change, further marginalizing the physically less than ideal individual. So this insecurity, that means this insecurity that is getting created, and it leads to the detrimental personality changes, right? But let's not forget the detrimental effect that the concept of beauty has on others who are perceived to lack the quality. So this thing is what it is talking about, the Western mass culture, right? अच्छा दिखो, यहाँ क्या है, an empirically beautiful person might have an easier time getting a job, but let's not forget the detrimental effect that the concept of beauty has on others. So the one who is having beauty, etc., etc., those can have an easy job. There are some side effects to it, and the author is saying we shouldn't forget that. So what we are majorly focusing upon, idea of beauty, right? Detrimental effects related to it. Whereas 3 is talking about the notion of some of the scientists, what beauty is all about, right? So that means 3 is talking about the notions of artists, scientists, and philosophers. We are talking about what happens in the environment, working environment, when there is more focus on you should be having a good looks. So what's the effect of it? So that's why 2, 1 second, 2, 5, 4, and 1 are connected, because 1, 4 और 5 तो detrimental effects पे बात कर रहा है. 2 is talking about the empirically beautiful person might have an easier time getting a job, but along with that, this line, but let's not forget the detrimental effect, suggests that this is cool, but let's not forget that the detrimental effect it has, right? So that's why, and it is saying that beauty is an inherently undefinable characteristic. 1, 3 के बाद कोई और sentences आ ही नहीं पाएगा, and that's why 3 will be the odd one out. 3 will be my answer. Sorted typo S. If having any doubts, please ask. Perfect Swasti, perfect Vandana, perfect Rohan, perfect Swarna. Sorted. Perfect guys. No? Chalo, let's move to the next question. Again, the odd one out. Okay, Naman. Okay, Vikash. Okay, Azra, Anirudh, Vraj. Anirudh, you have earned a lot of accuracy, and that really brings happiness to me. Okay, Vanna. Okay,
नहीं
Rohan.
सर बहुत गलत हुए अभी स्टार्टिंग में तो
हाँ, वो मैंने देखा, वो ऊपर वाले क्वेश्चंस में आई डोंट केयर, वो क्या से 2 लेवल ऊपर था, डोंट वरी अबाउट इट। एक लेवल तो पक्का था। okay. इंटेंशन ही वही था यार, समरी क्वेश्चंस थोड़ा टफ बनाने पे सीख जाओ, अच्छा रहता। ऑड वन आउट आसान होता है। Many of the people are giving well done, Vraj. Vraj, you also had a good accuracy today, right? If I'm not wrong. क्या कर रहे हैं ओशो भाई साहब, थक गए? रोहन, नो। ऑलराइट, स्टॉप। देखो गाइस, according to a 2018 World Travel and Tourism Council report, it will support 52.3 million jobs in 2028 against 42.9 million currently. So it will support something we are talking about. So the enhancements in numbers, it is talking about 52.3 million jobs in 2028 against the current scenario of 42.9. Tourism brings revenue to the exchequer, creates job by way of direct and indirect employment, and provides an incentive to preserve our heritage and environment. It is talking about tourism brings revenue, creates job, and here it is talking about it will, world travel and tourism will enhance the number of jobs. Connected travel and tourism currently accounts for 9.6% of India's GDP, 88% of which comes from domestic travel. All right, so it is talking about the current situation, current scenario right now, out of which 88% is consisted of domestic travel. Internationally, arrivals have remained relatively low at 9 millions, providing India with a unique opportunity to consider how to create demand. So it is talking about the creation of demand, right? There is something lagging, and that's why the demand should be created. Right? So this is having a negative connotation. Right? All these are talking about the positive things that is being brought by the travel and tourism industry. It supports 9.3% of the country's total job. Again, it is talking about how to the travel and tourism industry is contributing to the country's GDP or country's jobs, right? So 2, 1, 3 and 5 has positive notions, and it is talking about how it is contributing to something, whereas it is saying the international arrivals have remained low at 9 million, and we have to create demand for that. It might be coming up next in the arguments that we'll be discussing. When we discussed about this, 88% of which comes from domestic travel, then we can discuss about it at last. Okay, but international travels are very low, we can create the demands more and more, right? So it can come afterwards, right? Whereas right now if we are focusing majorly on the flow, these things have a positive connotations, and the major focus is on how travel and tourism is helping the country. So these are the things that it is talking about. It accounts for 9.6% of GDP. It will support 10 million jobs. It supports 9.3% of country's total jobs, etc., etc. So 2, 1, 3, 5 in any order. I don't know the order, and that's not my intention to create the order, but they are connected. Whereas 4 is talking about what he is lagging in. That's why 4 will come afterwards. So that's the odd one out. If sorted type S, also
सर वो फिफ्थ और फर्स्ट मेरे को लगा रेपिटेटिव सिमिलर डेटा है, इसलिए
fifth or first. नहीं, similar data कैसे है? One is talking about percentage, another is talking about your numbers. Similar कैसे हुआ?
मतलब जॉब का ही 1% और एक नंबर बता रहा है तो इसलिए, और 3
अरे
और 4 को लगा लिंक्ड है, डोमेस्टिक के बाद वो इंटरनेशनल पे चला गया।
अच्छा, तो अभी क्लियर है?
हाँ हाँ।
चलो, लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन। Guys, sectionals, then I start करो. It's high time you should give sectionals on an alternate day. 50 sectionals इसलिए नहीं रखवाया है कि बस 100 पीस बना के रख लो. Sectionals and mini sectionals on Google Forms. जिसको कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं आ रहा है गूगल फॉर्म में थोड़ा टाइमर एक्सटेंड भी होता है चलेगा, लेकिन sectionals आर इम्पोर्टेंट. टाइमर बेस्ड 40 seconds का, दैट्स इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर यू. ओके स्वर्णा ओशो. आशुतोष दोनों गलत है. हाँ चल, देख लिया मैं तेरा आंसर, इससे पहले भी देख लिया था, गलत है वो. लास्ट 1 मिनट गाइस. ओके 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 अवनी. ओके हर्षा. So stop. See what's given here. To put it crudely, banks stand as a guarantor for the currency that is exchanged between a payer and a payee. Okay. So role of bank we are discussing. To remain relevant in the future, the bank should formally adopt cryptocurrency without drastic consequences to the economy. Okay, so it is talking about the future relevance, how it can be created for banks. The most important objective of cryptocurrency is to eliminate the role of banks. So it is talking about the introduction of crypto and its objectives. right? So this is basically the threat towards bank. The guarantee and the record maintained by the bank are considered sacrosanct due to the fact that it's a bank, right? So now it is talking about as a guarantor we have discussed, and guarantee, and then it is talking about guarantee and record maintained are considered sacrosanct due to the fact that it's a bank. So it is kind of connected to this. Ki bank is a guarantor. Why? Because the guarantee is taken by them and it is considered sacrosanct. They debit the receiver and credit the giver in what is called the double entry method of bookkeeping. How bank functions. Right? So it is talking about how bank functions. Sorted. Now see guys, what is happening here? First thing first, we are talking about the role of bank, right? Why banks are trusted, how it functions, right? So 1, 4 and 5 तो मेरा connected है for sure. Role of bank, how it functions, why are they trusted? Now I am really confused between 2 and 3 because it introduced a completely new dimension, that is of cryptocurrency. What should be the answer? Whether it should be 2, whether it should be 3. So 3 is talking about that most important objective of cryptocurrency is to eliminate the role of banks. Okay. So it has introduced the concept of cryptocurrency and a threat to bank. To remain relevant in the future, the bank should formally adopt cryptocurrency. Now we have not, one thing is for sure, we have not talked about that bank is delving towards the irrelevance, and that's why if we want to discuss about its relevance, right, that they should formally adopt cryptocurrency without drastic consequences to the economy, etc., etc. Future relevance, if we are discussing about it, before that we have not discussed about the irrelevance of that, right? And 3 is talking about most important objective of cryptocurrency is to eliminate the role of banks. So difficult question, very difficult question, क्योंकि 2 और 3 में frankly बताऊं तो as a student मेरे को भी समझ, even as a teacher मेरे को समझ में नहीं आता कि क्या मार्क करूं. यहाँ पे what my intention might be कि हो सकता है it is trying to talk about the cryptocurrency as a threat to bank, and then we have discussed ki what bank actually is, what's the role of bank, how it functions, why are they trusted. And another thinking might be ki if today what's the function of a bank, etc., etc., and how it can be made relevant in future. But as we have not talked about the current relevance, irrelevance of the bank, so a bit of my inclination is towards 2 ki it should be eliminated. Why it should be eliminated? Because we have not talked about the irrelevance of it. So future में relevance रखने के लिए it should adopt cryptocurrency, etc., etc. Might be we are talking about 2 things. We are talking about first the functioning, second the threat. 2 is neither coming in the functioning wala part, 2 is neither coming in the threat wala part, right? And that's why 2 will be eliminated. So 2 is my answer. Very difficult guys, really difficult a question to mark on. But 1, 4, 5 अगर किसी ने मार्क करा 1, 4, 5 का मेरे को पेयरिंग दिख रहा था. I was literally confused between 2 and 3. Those many of you have marked option 3. I can relate with you guys. Got it?
सर
हाँ बोलो.
सर बट मुझे मतलब 3 क्यों नहीं हो रहा होगा इसमें, क्योंकि 3 को इंट्रोड्यूस अगर कराया जा रहा है तो वो 2 से ही तो रिलेट हो रहा है कि टू रिमेन रेलेवेंट इन द फ्यूचर द बैंक शुड फॉर्मली अडॉप्ट क्रिप्टो करेंसी, और उसके बाद ही तो ये चीज हो रही है ना कि द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ क्रिप्टो करेंसी इज टू एलिमिनेट द रोल ऑफ बैंक, और ये नेगेटिव भी है.
शाबाश. क्या बात कर रही है तू तू अगर बोल रही है कि 2 के बाद 3 मान लो कहीं पे आता है ना, तो डोंट यू थिंक इट्स कॉन्ट्राडिक्टरी कि अगर बैंक को फंक्शन करना है तो इट शुड अडॉप्ट क्रिप्टो करेंसी, एंड इट इज सेइंग कि क्रिप्टो करेंसी आया तो इट विल एलिमिनेट द रोल ऑफ बैंक। तो बैंक अपनी रेलिवेंस को खुद खत्म कर ले क्रिप्टो करेंसी को इंट्रोड्यूस करके।
नहीं नहीं, तभी तभी तो मैं बोल रही हूँ कि 3 ऑड वन आउट होगा।
मेरा वही तो कहना है कि 3 सेइंग अबाउट की इम्पोर्टेंट ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ क्रिप्टो करेंसी इज टू एलिमिनेट द रोल ऑफ बैंक्स, right? Now if I am talking about the role of banks, all these things this keyword role of banks is being discussed here ना, कि ये काम कैसे करता है। they debit the receiver, the credit the giver, etc., follow the double entry method, and that's why due to this keyword it looked relevant to me।
ओके।
समझी? दिमाग मेरा खुद खराब हुआ इस क्वेश्चन में, है ना।
सर
बट
बट
हाँ बोलो।
सर बट सेकंड वाले के अंदर फर्दर स्कोप बता रहा है जो बैंक इम्प्रूव कर सकता है, और सॉरी हाँ, और थर्ड वाला तो मतलब सर पूरे पैसेज के अंदर बैंक के पॉजिटिव एस्पेक्ट्स मतलब उसके बारे में ही बता रहा है, तो सेकंड वाला क्यों
नहीं इसीलिए
मतलब
मेरा मेरा जो
वो नहीं
मानना
होगा।
था ना, दैट्स व्हाई माय नोशन वाज व्हाट माय नोशन वाज ना, 3 इज इंट्रोड्यूसिंग द थिंग, है ना, कि मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ क्रिप्टो करेंसी इज टू एलिमिनेट द रोल ऑफ बैंक्स, एंड देन व्हाट आर द रोल ऑफ बैंक्स दैट वी आर डिस्कसिंग। समझा? And भाई इस क्वेश्चन में मैं
नहीं
खुद
सर।
कन्विंसिंग मेरे को खुद नहीं था, है ना। बट द थिंग इज व्हाट माय नोशन वाज आई डिस्कस्ड, अकॉर्डिंग टू मी द करेक्ट आंसर शुड बी 2, right? Why? Because we are discussing about we are introducing the cryptocurrency. What's the basic intention of introducing the cryptocurrency? To eliminate the role of banks, और why those banks are, क्योंकि यहाँ पे क्या है ना, आई नो कि मेरे को भी जो एक जजमेंट लग रहा था कि 2 also can be marked, मतलब 3 also can be eliminated on the basis of कि banks should formally adopt cryptocurrency without drastic consequences to the economy to remain relevant in the future, right? But the thing is na कि we have not discussed about the pain points, any pain points of the bank, right? So अगर further मतलब अगर मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि further relevant रहना, that means something we should have discussed about the irrelevance part of it, and that's why I eliminated 2 और 3 को
सर
इसलिए
बट
रखा। हाँ बोलो ना।
सब बट सेम चीज तो सर क्रिप्टो करेंसी के उसमें भी है कि उसके ऑब्जेक्टिव्स के बारे में बात ही नहीं करे, तो मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट ऑब्जेक्टिव तो मतलब सेम चीज नहीं हुई कि मतलब हम क्रिप्टो करेंसी के किसी ऑब्जेक्टिव के बारे में ही बात नहीं करें तो मोस्ट
मैं
इम्पोर्टेंट हो या ना हो तो ऑड वन आउट होगा।
मैं स्टार्ट ही कर रहा हूँ, ऑब्जेक्टिव तब जाऊंगा ना मैं जब मैं उसके बीच में कहीं खोजूंगा, अगर मैं क्रिप्टो करेंसी करता उसके बाद मैं स्टार्ट ही कर रहा हूँ क्रिप्टो करेंसी से बच्चा। आई एम स्टार्टिंग विद द क्रिप्टो करेंसी का नोशन कि द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ क्रिप्टो करेंसी इज टू एलिमिनेट द रोल ऑफ बैंक। नाउ व्हाट आर द रोल्स ऑफ बैंक्स दैट आई एम डिस्कसिंग इन ऑल दीज ऑप्शंस।
सब मैंने उल्टे उसे किया कि मतलब रोल ऑफ बैंक्स, फिर हाउ बैंक फंक्शंस,
रहने दे
फिर
इस क्वेश्चन को
हाँ।
रहने दे, आई थिंक अबाउट इट। दोनों नोशंस मेरे को
ओके
पता है, वो मेरे दिमाग में खुद ही आ रहे थे जब मैं सॉल्व कर रहा था ना, वो मेरे दिमाग में खुद ही आ रहे थे कि ऐसा, क्योंकि क्योंकि क्या होता है ना कि मैं क्वेश्चंस उठाता हूँ, मेरे पास मैं क्वेश्चंस रैंडम उठाता हूँ और उसको मैं जब तुम लोग सॉल्व कर रहे होते हैं मैं भी सॉल्व कर रहा होता हूँ, ठीक है। तो जब मैं कर रहा था ना तो मेरे को ये दोनों नोशन जो तुम लोग डिस्कस कर रहे हो वो मेरे दिमाग में आ रहे थे, लेकिन मेरे को 3 वाला बेटर लग रहा था, कन्विंसिंग लग रहा था, दैट्स व्हाई आई मार्क 2 एंड एलिमिनेटेड। एक बार मैं चेक कर लूंगा उसके बाद आई विल कम टू दिस, है ना। मेरे हिसाब से 2
हाँ
आंसर
ओके
होना
सर।
चाहिए, एक बार मैं देख भी लूंगा आंसर इसका, वैसे पता नहीं है, देख भी लूंगा, ठीक है। देखते हैं, है ना। लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन। इस क्वेश्चन में मेरे को भी डाउट था, आई एम कीपिंग इट आउट, मैं अभी देख लूंगा इसको। नेक्स्ट। अनुश्रुति सिंह, इतने खराब क्वेश्चंस ढूंढ ढूंढ के लाया है आपने। काइंड ऑफ। स्वर्णा, एवरीथिंग विल, क्वेश्चन कितने करने हैं बचाना, बताना स्नेहा, अभी बहुत है। देखते हैं कितने क्वेश्चन से। एक, रुक जाओ, 2 3 4 5 6 7, 7 क्वेश्चन और है। मेरे को पता है तुम लोग, अगर मैं 7 करा दिया तो तुम लोग आज ही मर जाओगे, इसीलिए मैं नहीं कराऊंगा। डोंट वरी, 2 3 क्वेश्चन करा के छोड़ दूंगा। कौन कौन है जो 7 क्वेश्चंस के फेवर में है? मैं अभी बैठा के करवा दूंगा, याद रखना। ओके ब्रज, एक ब्रज है और रोहन भी है, चलो दैट्स गुड। लक्ष्य भी है, दीक्षा भी है, चलो दैट्स गुड। आशुतोष ठीक है, मेरे को कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, कर लो। हाँ तुषार, मेरे को पता है, आ गया मेरे पास अनिरुद्ध का मैसेज कि सर 9 बजे से ये है ना। बट गुड जॉब गाइस, the way you showed the perseverance, I really liked your attitude. It will take you forward, है ना? So that's a very good thing I have seen in you, is literally keep working hard, क्योंकि पता है मतलब मजा आता है, फ्रैंकली बताऊं मजा आता है, मेरे को खुद मजा आता है। 7 8 घंटे सेशन लेना मेरे को खुद मजा आता है भाई। अभी तो कुछ भी नहीं है, पहले मैं 12:30 से 3:30 सेशन लेता था, फिर भलेंदु ने बोला यार बच्चों की परेशानी हो जाती है, मैंने बोला ठीक है यार, नहीं देंगे, छोड़ दो। है ना, दैट्स द थिंग। इसलिए मैंने थोड़ा पहले से सेशन रखना शुरू कर दिया, नहीं तो वीए का सेशन जो 9:30 से 1 में करने वाला था ना, वो 12 से 3 वाला टाइमिंग था। बट मैंने बोला चलो ठीक है, 9:30 से 12:30 कर लेंगे। Swarna, I'm asking ki how are the things? Are they cool to you today? All right. Last 30 seconds, guys. Let's see. Okay, so देखते हैं। बाकी लोगों ने आंसर नहीं दिया। ये दीक्षा कृष्ण है। See, the Slovenian philosopher, this guy makes a striking observation about the difference between fascism and communism. In fascism, think of Adolf Hitler or Benito Mussolini. When the supreme leader finishes his speech, his body seeks to embody a theatrical gravitas. The leader stares into the crowd and his hands barely move as he soaks in the wave of applause. He never betrays the mask of virility that he carefully adorns. In contrast, under communism, think of Joseph Stalin, Xi Jinping, or Kim Jong un. The supreme leader joins in the bonhomie. His hands applaud freely and his body seeks to project conviviality, to further the claim that he too is merely a fellow party worker, never hinting at the vast authoritarian power he oversees. Right? So that means there are two things, fascism and communism. Fascism is where leaders showcase that yes, they have gravity in themselves. When they reach on stage, they showcase ki once I start speaking, once my speech is over, there should be continuous applause, right? That shows the gravity of that leader. Whereas in fascism, when I talk about the communism, that was about fascism. When I'm talking about the communism, what happens? Leaders like Xi Jinping, etc., etc. They just try to showcase that they are from the workers. They just want to correlate with the workers, right? So that's why whenever they reach on stage, whenever their speech gets over, obviously they applaud themselves along with the workers to showcase that he also is one of them. That's the basic difference between fascism and the communism, right? See, fascism क्या हुआ? Fascism का मतलब क्या हुआ कि there is a sense of authoritarianism, right? Whereas when we are talking about communism, there is no sense of that authoritarianism. There is bonhomie. Bonhomie means friendliness, right? According to Slovak Zizek, while fascism expects complete subservience, right? Subservience means submission. Subservience from people. Communism pretends conviviality for promoting the authoritarian state. Conviviality for promoting the authoritarian state. What he is saying, never hinting at the vast authoritarian power he oversees. So friendliness for promoting the authoritarian state is completely a misleading statement. It's not like that, right? It's not like he's promoting the authoritarian state in communism. That's why option A will be eliminated. Option B says, while in communism, the supreme leader may pretend to identify himself with the crowd to hide his authoritarian powers, hinting at the never hinting at the vast authoritarian power he oversees. That means author is agreeing that he has some authoritarian powers, but he is not letting people know. He is not trying to hint people that they have authoritarian powers. So that's why till here it's correct. In fascism, he makes no such pretense of camaraderie. So that means fascism में ऐसा नहीं होता है. Fascism में they showcase the supremeness of theirs. So that means option 2 might be true. While a supreme communist leader never betrays the mask of virality that he adorns, okay, यहाँ पे the communist leader betrays the mask of virality. Here, what is given when the supreme leader, his body six, the leader stares into, he never betrays the mask of virality. That means it is talking about the fascism ka state, whereas it is said in the communist ka state. That means completely a misstatement. The difference between fascism and communism is farcical, as the supreme leaders project carefully cultivated but contrary images to hide their authoritarian powers. No, it is talking about both fascism and communism में ऐसा होता है, जबकि in fascism ऐसा होता है, communism में ऐसा नहीं होता है. That's why option D will be eliminated. It was an easy question, guys. It was an easy question. Option B will be my answer. Right? चलो लास्ट क्वेश्चन करते हैं आज के लिए. बाकी लोगों ने फीडबैक नहीं दिया है, फीडबैक दे देना गाइस जिन लोगों ने नहीं दिया. Oof. Chalo, so ending on a good note. Not that tough. Perfect, has ending on a good note. Chalo, stop, guys. Huh? Let's see what is given here. It's spreading arrays of fingers fits snugly around the contours of the bone's underside. It's a spreading array of fingers. Means we are talking about something, right? Aving feels for gaps between the steel and smooth bone, then removes the saddle and walks to a blowtorch nearby. Okay, so someone feels for gaps between steel and smooth bone, then removes the saddle, walks to a blowtorch nearby. All right. Made of carbon steel, the support resembles a pair of cupped hands bound together at the wrists. Okay, so it is talking made of carbon steel. So again, it is talking about something. Ahead of us, a young jewelry designer named Leslie Ewing is working on a saddle to hold one of the fossil cervical vertebrae. Now, this is obviously my starter without any doubt. Ahead of us, a young jewelry designer named this guy is working on a saddle to hold one of fossil cervical vertebrae, right? So working on a saddle, then obviously the next trap we might fall for is we are talking about Leslie Ewing. So two will be coming after that. Ewing feels for gaps. Gaps of what? We have not talked about any gaps till now, right? So that's why here it is saying working on a saddle to hold one of the fossil cervical vertebrae. So it is talking about the saddle, right? Now, one is talking about its spreading array of fingers. That means we might be talking about saddles, right? So snugly fits snugly around the contours of the bones underside. Which bones underside? We have not talked about, right? One is saying made of a carbon steel, the support resembles a pair of cupped hands bound together at the wrists. All right, so it is talking about the significance or components of this saddle, what it is made of, right? So ahead of us, a young jewelry designer named this guy is working on a saddle to hold one of the fossil cervical vertebrae. That cervical vertebrae, that saddle is made of carbon steel. The support resembles a pair of cupped hands bound together at the wrists, right? So now, when I'm talking about its spreading arrays of fingers, what's spreading arrays of fingers? This cupped hands bound together at the wrists. We are talking about bound cupped hands, and here we are talking about the fingers, right? So spreading array of fingers of the cupped hands fits snugly around the contours of the bones underside. Which bones still we are not knowing, but as we had discussed about hands, after that fingers ka concept will be coming, right? And when he felt, what he did, he fits snugly around its spreading array of fingers fits snugly around the contours of the bones underside. So contours means what? The boundary. So it fits around the boundary, Now, what this guy does, it feels for gaps between the steel and smooth bone, this bone that we are talking about. There is some gap between them. He feels that out and then removes the saddle and walks to a blowtorch nearby just to remove that gap. Right? So that's why 4312 will be my here. That's my answer. Sorted? किसी को कोई डाउट्स है तो रुक जाओ, else you may leave. Hope you had a good day. Bye bye, take care guys.